Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and this is going to be part 2 of my Spring Witch journal series. So I've got some fun ideas today for kind of a door situation. I'm not sure. Let me show you what I'm working with here. In my journal, I have this piece of dyed paper. I did a little stitching on it, and this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And let me show you the other side of this. So I put it in, so like a quarter of it was sticking out here, and then I folded it over on this side. So I have a full sheet and then a little tuck or pocket, whatever I decide to do with that. And then I have this little piece here. And I liked how it looked, but I was just thinking it would be really cool to have some kind of doors that I can open or just like little flippy panels. So I got this piece of notebook paper and I cut it down. This is the top, this was the bottom. I trimmed off, so it's just a tiny bit smaller than the pages in my journal. And then I folded it over so it would fit and did a little stitching around the outside. Since we are sewing now, I thought I would go all out with that for now. So this gives me kind of this door flip open situation. So I need to attach this into the book, but I think I'm going to ink this first. I've got Seedless Preserves Distress Ink. It's a purple. I thought that would go really nicely with our spring theme. And I'm going to just kind of ink a bunch of this around the edges. I think I'm going to flip this so that it's very crunchy. I'm sorry for those of you who don't like sounds like this. I'm going to flip this in and get kind of this crease area, so that's kind of an interesting look whenever this is folded open. And then I'll flip it the other way and do the same thing. This was a coffee dyed paper. It's very lightly coffee dyed. There's a tiny bit of like a tan tint to it from the coffee. I didn't have particularly strong coffee that day in my pan, and it came out really light, but I figured, I'll work with it. Can always throw some ink on it later. I'm not going to do this edge because I have something I want to attach there, so that's not really going to show. Yeah, I like that. I'll put my ink away really quick. So to attach this in, I'm going to see if I'm going to try this. I'm going to see if I can just use some washi tape and tape on the edge of this piece that I'm inserting and then onto this little panel, and hopefully it will be strong enough on just that one side. We'll see, because I have like a heavy loaded tag that I want to put into this. It's good to go on this panel, and I'm not sure if the weight is going to be too much or if it's just not going to matter. I've got this metallic washi tape. I'll see if I can get it to focus there. It's really pretty. I'll try to remember to link this washi tape set down below. It has a lot of really pretty spring colors in it. All of them have metallics on them, which I am partial to. There we go. Leave some of that hang over the edge, and then I'm just going to try to make sure this is fairly centered. I'm hoping, I don't want to attach it to the page underneath this one because it's gonna mess up my page action. All right, let's see. Give that a good fold. Okay, that seems to work, and there we go. If I have to, I will add a little piece of washi along here and try to just catch this crease. But we'll see if I need to do that. I have a feeling that I will need to do that. I'll address that when I get to the back side of this paper. For now I've got a little door. Now I want to build some more layers. So I think the first thing, I've got this little tuck kind of panel from the Spring Witch kit, and I thought that would be really pretty there. I like how this overlaps and the stitching and the flowers and all of that. Let's go with green Distress Ink. Let's play around with it. Mowed Lawn. And I've got to track down my ink pad for that. So let me find that really quickly. Aha, it had rolled away. So we've got our Mowed Lawn ink. I'm gonna do some green right on the edges of that. There we go. I'm gonna glue this on. I think I'm just gonna glue the top and the bottom with my Fabri-Tac glue. Give it a good shake down. My glue has gotten a little thick. There's a crack in the bottle. All right, so I'm just gonna glue the top and the bottom. I'm tempted to glue the middle too, so I can put smaller, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Let's just do it. There, top, bottom, middle. And there we go. Center that up. Let's make sure we're not, okay, middle is not over a hole in that notebook paper. This is gonna help secure my stitching as well. I don't think I backed up. I do have little threads hanging here. I might leave those, I might trim them off, I'm not sure. But now I can tuck a couple of things in here, and that center glue will help secure it a little bit. All right, so we've got flip there, flip there. On this panel, I have from the kit this long notes strip, and I'm trying to decide, do I trim it and just attach the top of it here for a cool little flip note-taking moment, or do I attach it high so when it's closed, you can kind of see the top of notes poking out? I'm trying to decide if I like the words next to the words, or let's trim it. Let's go down in here like that. I'm sure somebody out there is yelling, no, you should have let it poke out. It was so cute, but we're gonna go ahead and trim that. I'm gonna save this little piece. That could be a fun little tab on something later. And I'm gonna score the top of this so it can flip up, because we do have lines on the opposite side where more notes can happen. Oh, I've gotten green ink all over me. So let's grab our scoreboard. See if I can line this up. I've put some marker on some of the tracks so that I can see where I'm scoring. There we go. Give that a good fold both directions. Bring back our book. Close our ink up so it doesn't dry out. All right. And I'm just gonna glue the top of that right there. Got my glue stick. I seem to have misplaced my piece of scrap paper, so we'll just try to be neat. We'll do it up here so we don't glue things to things we don't mean to glue to. Here we go. Just center that up, and there we go. Now we have our little notes flip. I didn't ink this. There's a little bit of tinted edge around a lot of it. I could always come back and hit it with a little ink, but we've got a lot of colors going on, so I feel pretty good about just leaving that be. Make sure it's straight. But there. Now I can write on the front, the back, and then I have all this space here if I wanted to add something else underneath that. So I'm going all out on this thing. I think, let's flip to the inside. I'm probably going to leave this blank and leave a little space there. Let's slide this down. I want to add a strip here. It'll hide the holes. And there's a pink line here. I'm not sure if you can see it from the notebook paper. I can see it a little bit through the other side. So I want to try to run a strip right about that size down. And then this will, again, leave some writing space along there. I'm going to cut a piece off of this. So again, I'm learning to use the machine and trying to find creative ways to use it. So this is a piece of copy paper, and I used my glue stick and kind of glued down a hodgepodge of fabrics and things to this. And then I just stitched all over it. I kind of tried to hit most of the edges, and then just for giggles, I ran some lines across, a couple of straight ones. I have a wiggly one. You can kind of see I got all crazy with it. This is just a loose thread. Cut that off. Put it in my loose thread pile. I might do something with those. So I'm going to just cut a piece of this off to use as a decoration. And I'm thinking I like how, scooch down a little more. I like how this area looks. I do have quite a bit of stitching here, so once I cut it, it should be okay. So I think if I cut right about here, grab my scissors, so right there, that will make me a nice little decorative edge. Just gonna eyeball it. Let's not worry about perfection. I do have a rotary cutter. Maybe in the future I'll be a little neater, but I figured, well, I was haphazard with the stitching. Let's just keep it up. All right, there we go. Okay. So that's gonna go on there. I'll probably want to ink the back of this a little bit in case it shows over the edge. So let's grab there. I just have my green sitting here, so, and I found a piece of scrap paper. Kind of run a little bit of green ink down that. That way, if anything shows, it won't be like, oh, white paper. Let's get the ends too. I'm probably going to trim off and make this all even so you don't see those ends from the other side, but I will find out when I get there. All right. So now, did I do it? Yeah, I did the right side. So when this flips shut, okay, a little bit of green shows. That works. Let's commit. Don't overthink it. So let's grab some of my Fabri-Tac. Run that down. I probably didn't want to put it through that hole. It's gonna mess up our tuck on the other side. Let's see if I can grab a paper towel and, oh yeah, I'll just use my finger. It's fine. We can always pop it back open with our scissors later. And I'm second guessing. I inked the other side though. All right, let's stick with what our original plan. There we go. Purple ink. Right in there. These are all vintage fabrics that were in storage at my dad's house. Probably most of them were my mom's from sewing. And I just got these over Christmas and have been cleaning everything. So I've been expanding my collection of what I can use. Can we still slide that back that way? Oh, that works. All right, let's flip this and give it a little trim. Right there. And there. Okay, let's see how that looks. Got our notes. Flip that open, flip that open. A little pop of color right there. I like it. Room for writing, more room for writing. I'm gonna put, so I just made this set. It's a set of 4 skinny tall tags based on the different elements. And I think I'm gonna put air in here. Do I like air in here? I have, let's see, water. I think I touched earth somewhere else. I don't know. I think fire. I think fire might be the one with those colors. Yep. That's it. We're going to do the fire tag in here. I am going to glue this all the way down. I hate to hide this texture on the back, but I think we've got a lot going on here already. I can't see flip, flip. And then trying to make this flip as well is going to be, it's a little much for me. I don't think we need a tuck. I'm just going to glue it down. But that's definitely something you could do with one of these, is let it be a band or a tuck or something like that and put even more things inside. But for me, I think I'm just going to glue it down. Make sure we don't get glue on our journal card that pops into the back there. And to make it straight, I'm just going to follow this pink line on the paper. And this has this cards right on there. There's a ton of journaling space right here in the front. So I dug through some of my ephemera pieces, and I have a pack of printed ephemera that I picked up off of Amazon. And I remembered it had a bunch of moon and astrology type of images in it. And I grabbed this with the faces of the moon. And I think I'm gonna cut a strip out of this. Let's do it by hand. And we're gonna make this all nice and neat. And this just happens to fit just right on this little panel. I felt like it was too bare inside still. I like to have journaling space, but I love decorating. And since this journal is for me, it makes sense to decorate to my little heart's content. So I'm gonna put that right there. I'm gonna center it, but I might add some more things to this page later. We'll see. While I'm digging around here, I'll see what else I find. Got our moons though. Right there. In fact, I'm going to stick it over that washi tape just a little bit, and that's going to help cement that down and create some layers. So it's kind of a win-win. Nice, I like that. Save the rest of our moons for later. So now I want to make a couple of little tags or something like that to go into this belly band. And I'm definitely going to have to make sure whatever goes in here is all the way in and doesn't hang over the edge. While I like to let things hang over the edge, that's going to run into a problem when you flip this open. If things are sticking out, they're not going to want to flip. It's going to get jammed up. So whatever I put in here has to go all the way in. I've pre-cut a couple of pieces of glitter card stock. See if I can show those to you. I've got a green and a yellow. And I'm going to grab some of my pre-cut tags and do a little collage work on these. I think something like that, but with some bits of fabric. Let's see, let's work on the bird first. I've got several fabrics here to choose from, and that is a clear winner. Let's just snip a piece of that off. I really like how that looks with the bird and the yellow cardstock. So what if I do something like that? Maybe a little bit of this letter kind of paper. So let's build some layers here. Like that. And then place our bird on here. Something like that. This is going to need something else, but let's go ahead and commit to this. I'm going to put a little ink on the edges of things. This is, what do we got? Vintage photo, distress ink. And let's get some of that on the edges of the bird. I did not do a very good job cutting my cutouts. Some of these cutouts got shifted and I have a white edge around. I used my Cricut machine, and the Cricut doesn't like to do full page cutouts without a little bit of finagling. And I'm far from an expert on it, and sometimes my stuff gets off center a little bit and my cuts are not perfect. So I just kind of hide them and move on. I'll put some vintage photo around there. I think I might hit this with, there's some pink in the bird card, or pink and purple. Let's do a little, just a nod to that. Stain that a little bit. And I'm going to do the edges of this glitter cardstock as well. That'll tone down. This is a very bright yellow, and I like to tone down some of these bright colors just a bit. I love bright colors. But sometimes they could be a little hard on, a little shocking to the eyes when compared with next to some of the printables and things. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue down this piece of paper. I'm using my Fabri-Tac instead of a glue stick because there is a plastic coating on this glitter paper. and it makes it a little harder to stick things to it. So I'll just put a good amount on there. And kind of smooth it out a bit. There we go. Let's kind of confirm where we want everything. Now I'm wondering, if we go more like that, I like the rough edge on the fabric. Now we're covering up a lot of our words though. I think we need to make our fabric just a little smaller. There we go. It's not always want to tear for me, but I love the rough torn edges. So let's do, I like that a lot. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac again. I'm going to kind of smooth it out with my finger though, so that the glue doesn't seep through the fabric too much. Because it can leave stains if you get big blobs of that glue. And then our bird's going to go here. I'm going to use my glue stick for that. I have found that this glue stick sticks pretty well to fabric. It's not permanent, it's not as good as the Fabri-Tac, but it definitely kind of gets you where you're trying to go. And I've got all this other surface area, so I'm not going to worry too much. Clean that up just a little. I've got my corner rounding punch, and I'm going to go ahead and hit all of these corners with the smallest setting. And let's put a little ink back on those corners since we've trimmed them off. And that's really cute. I think we might add a tab or a ribbon or something to the top of this, but I'm going to make my other tag really quickly. Let's see how this looks. Slipped right in there. I like that a lot. That's cute. All right. Maybe we'll just put some washi tape on the top or something like that. All right, let's do something similar with this one. I think we're going to go in the bottom corner. Ink that up. Again, I got some white edges. We're just going to hide those today because I'm not worried about it. There we go. What kind of fabric can we put with this? I've got, ooh, I think that's the one. All right, straighten this out. When I tear it, sometimes it bunches up, which I don't entirely mind. There we go. So we do something like that and just run it all the way up the edges. We'll have to glue that down really good. It's a little bit ripply. And go there. We want to grab some more. We have a different paper. I don't want something that dark though. Let's use what we have on hand. This is just another piece, same thing as we used on the other card. You don't see a lot of it on there, so I don't feel like it's going to be too repetitive to use it on both tags. Let's go. Do I want it over the fabric? I think I do want it over the fabric. Let's tear some of this off. Go. All right, let's put a nice thin coating of Fabri-Tac down. Going right up to the edge. Let's grab a piece of paper so I don't make a mess all over my mat here. And let's try to stick this down really well. Stretch it out just a little. And we want to make sure it's pretty flat because it has to slide into that pocket. But I do like having these little fringes kind of stick over the edge, so I'll leave it like that. And then we definitely want to ink this. I think let's use the purple. There's some purple in our picture here, and we've got plenty of green with this glitter cardstock. Well, that was a little aggressive. It's very purple. That's fine. Hit it with a touch of vintage photo. That'll tone that down just a little bit. And I think we're gonna have to use Fabri-Tac so that we can make sure it sticks pretty well. Right like that. This is gonna go right here. Grab my glue stick. I have little threads everywhere sticking to my fingers. There we go. Now I don't want to try to use my corner rounding punch on the fabric on this because it's going to gum up the whole punch and cause an issue. I think I'm just going to, I'm going to nip all the corners off just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of excitement. Yeah, like that. And here's some purple ink. We'll put some purple ink around. Even hit our fabric with it a little bit. I'm gonna add some grommets or eyelets to the tops of these tags so that I can put some ribbon into them. I'm not sure what ribbon I'm gonna use yet. I'll have to go dig through my stash. But I grabbed a ruler and I did mark. I'm very bad at hitting the center without a mark. I've learned that. I've learned my lesson. So I've got kind of a midpoint mark. I'm using my Crop-A-Dial on the big setting, a 3/16 setting, because that's what size eyelets I have. And I'm just gonna punch a hole at hopefully the center. Me and measuring have a bad history as well, but hopefully this is not going through the fabric. Let's see. Ah, just missed it. You can punch through fabric, it just gets a little tricky. And punches don't always want to cooperate. So I've got a bunch of colors of eyelets. I think I might do a purple. These are just a touch bigger than my holes. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a purple on that one. And gold on this one. All right. I'm gonna punch those real quick. I gotta stand up to do that and I'm gonna shake the whole table. So I'm gonna do that off camera and I'll be back in a second. I've got my grommets in and I finished these off with a little bit of ribbon. Let me hold these up. I'm gonna skip adding any buttons or other thick embellishments because I wanted them to slide in and out of here really easily. I like the little bit of ribbon. It's gonna stick out at the edge of the journal when it's closed, so that makes me happy. And this can still flip even with those inside, so I like that. I'd like to do just a little more to this panel with the moons on it. This is just a gray fine line Sharpie. I think I'm gonna write the word moon at the top. Now I do not have the world's most interesting handwriting. But there we go. And then I've got my glitter Wink of Stella brush and I love this thing. I'm never sure how well it shows up on camera, but I'm going to go over these moons. And it's a clear medium with glitter suspended in it. So it's going to make these moons a little bit sparkly on this paper. And that'll add just a touch of something extra to dress it up. And I like how that plays off the metallics in the washi tape right next to it as well. Get just our little crescent there. And I'm pretty happy with where this ended up. We've got a lot of interesting little things going on. I am pleased. So I'm looking at this and I think I'd like to add a little more writing. So instead of just moon, I think I'm gonna make it moonbeams. So I'm gonna grab my same pen. I'm a very exclamation mark oriented person. There we go. That feels a little more finished and it's cuter. I like that a lot. So to finish this off, I feel like I need some kind of closure to keep this shut. This is kind of flipping open just a little bit. It's not too bad, but I love the idea of kind of unwinding some kind of string and really kind of opening this up. I'm going to grab a piece of pink cardstock and just punch out, this is a 1-inch circle punch, and I'm just gonna punch out a circle really quickly. And I'm gonna hit the edges of that with some green ink, just for a little contrast. Going pretty heavy. There we go. I'm gonna decorate this with a little bit of washi tape. I think I'm gonna go with, I like the green. So this is from the same set. Hopefully that focused so I can show it to you. I'm just going to tear off a little strip of it and run it straight across and trim it up. There we go. I'm going to attach this with a dimensional foam sticker. There's that. I might come back and glue this later, but since I'm trying to move pretty quickly and I don't want to wait for the glue to dry in this case, I'm just going to pop this on right like that. There we go. And I'd like to add a button on top. I think I like that one, even though it's not real shiny. It's got a light purple kind of coloring, or like a gray purple. And I like how it jumps off that washi tape. So we're going to put that right there. And let's find some baker's twine. I think I'm going to go with, there's pink. Oh, I like that purple. We're gonna do the purple. Let's cut off a good piece of this to work with. And we're going to have to attach it back here. I think we're gonna glue it, but I also want to do a little washi tape to secure it. I want it to look like it's just taped down. So let's put just a little bit of glue here. Put our string in that. So that's gonna secure it. And then I'm gonna get the same green tape I just used, and I'm gonna put a piece of that over top. Let's tear it kind of uneven so it looks more interesting. There we go. So now we can close this, wrap our twine right around here. I'll cut, how far do I want that to stick out? Let's leave it pretty long so it can poke out either the bottom or the side, depending on where it ends up when we move the pages around. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm gonna stop here for today. I'm really happy with how this all came out. We have our flip, our belly bands, all this decoration on the inside, our big tag, lots of journaling space. This came out even better than it was in my head. I hope you've enjoyed this video. There will be at least one more, maybe 2 more videos in this series. We'll see where I end up going with it. But thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.